All right. Well, it's been a busy week in the markets and as well here in Greece with Posidonia event coming to a close. So we'll go through an update on some of the events this week. Clearly, the stock market was still moving while some of the folks in Greece were a little distracted, but some updates on ZIM, CoolCo, Judd Arnold's new report on Navios and Capes, as well as some updates on the market sentiment in Posidonia. So ZIM was the big news this week. Highly volatile situation. We had the main insider, Ofer, who's one of the largest Israeli shipping owners. He owned over 20% of ZIM, came out with a 5% block sale. He also put on a collared transaction. The stock dropped a little bit on news of the offering, but then an absolute meltdown in the market, over 20% the other day. So obviously people don't like insider selling. I don't put too much weight on this. I mean, Mr. Ofer, I think his net worth is somewhere north of 17 or 20 billion or something. So a couple $100 million here and there in ZIM is not exactly a life-changing or altering view on the markets. But it's been the back and forth, the battle of the equity brokers, if you will. So on one hand, you have the franchise pick, Jefferies, long and strong ZIM. On the other side, you have the insider dealing Citibank, who is the ZIM bear. They're out with a sell recommendation. They did move up their price target from 11 and change to 13, but at 13, with the rates that you're getting right now, maybe you're looking at 1x PE or something for 2024, but a little bit confusing to everyone, just given Citi executed the insider sale the same day they're out with a sell recommendation and doing all sorts of things there. So I guess we'll see. Jefferies, covers the sector a little bit more closely, but anything can happen with ZIM, but definitely an interesting one to follow. CoolCo was out in the market with some volatility this week as well. So the other week, they announced a charter on one of their new builds. The market was quite pleased on that. You can see here how the stock was moving up. And then this week, it's just been an absolute bloodbath. So, LNG time charter rates have been pretty steady, not very exciting, nothing to write home about. So, it kind of makes sense. The market wouldn't be too keen on this stock, but some interesting downward pressure on the name. At these levels, it starts to get pretty interesting. You're probably looking at a mid-teens yield on the stock. And so, definitely one to follow. The GOAT himself, Judd Arnold, was out this week with only quote unquote, a 45 or 50 page write-up on Navios Maritime, ticker NMM. He did a podcast on that. I would suggest people listen to it. It's a great kind of generalist view of the shipping markets. I'd say he got, pretty much directionally correct. He also, the thesis there with Navios is just that Angeliki, the CEO, now owns 16-17% of the company. She has a lot of incentive to rectify this 50% or more NAV discount in the stock. Historically, she's been known for some insider dealings and whatnot, but now kind of going into the golden years and the tail end of her career, it seems like she might have just more to gain through some proper governance and some shareholder returns. Within this document, Judd had also mentioned some of the other Cape or larger dry bulk focused names, one being Himalaya Shipping and Golden Ocean. Herman Billing, who's the CEO of Himalaya Shipping, will come out Marhelm next week. So that should be an interesting one to tune into. Himalaya is a pure play Cape Newcastle Max player, has one more ship to deliver, and it's just going to be a dividend machine should this and as this Cape market continues to firm through this cycle. So Posidonia was a great week. However, today there was news out that unfortunately one of the community shipbrokers that was in attendance was killed in a car accident or a road incident. And so, our thoughts and family, our thoughts go out to, to his family. A tragic event for what was otherwise, a very positive week. So that was quite unfortunate, and we send our regards to his family. At Posidonia, we also hosted a Marhelm kind of ship twit meetup for a few folks that were in town. So it was great to see some of the members, potential subscribers, and some of just the industry participants that were hanging around at the time. So, it was great to kind of see everyone in Greece. The theme of Posidonia this year was quite interesting. The market is such that, shipbrokers or ship owners may have never been, better off than they are now. Kind of every sector has performed quite well over various stages of the last 2 years. Obviously, asset prices have come up. So there was a lot of, there were a lot of fireworks at the events. The events were, had quite a good vibe, if you will. I'll call it a celebratory environment, but everyone was quite humble in their outlooks. Almost has felt like the last couple of years have been almost too good to be true. And so it's a bit of a feeling of, how much longer will it last? We do think that in certain segments and names particularly, we're still coming into a very interesting time in the shipping markets. But the big question is, where to invest now. So, we met with the Womar shipping team that runs stainless steel tankers listed in Oslo. Hans, the CEO, was on Marhelm for an interview the other month. This is a group that has focused on kind of more of a niche sector, general kind of ton mile and broader chemical economics seem to be providing some tailwinds there. The tanker segment, obviously it's been very hot. The order books still look quite manageable and the fleet profile is quite old. But a lot of the fear now is, especially on the equity side, is around, the potential for some news events that could really send, shockwaves through some of these names around some of the major, congestion zones that have been happening with the Red Sea, Panama, the Russia-Ukraine sanction environment. None of those seem particularly likely in the near term, but things change quite quickly. So, we've seen some of the larger Greek owners really over the last year to 2 years move into LNG new builds. Some of the Greek ship owners have started to expand their fleet into the offshore sector. So really everyone is just kind of flush with cash, which makes it, Posidonia is usually known for the capital raising folks. And, it's been a little bit tougher on that end, just given everyone, has pretty full balance sheets and doesn't necessarily need much capital. A lot of the ship owners have kind of set up equity divisions, are really looking harder at, special situations in maybe other sectors that they're not involved in or elsewhere. But, the general vibe is that, things have been quite well. The Navigate group was bought out by ADNOC. The commentary there was that, congrats for, selling at the top. So, we'll kind of see how things develop. Clearly, there's still a lot of tailwinds in the sector, but, the shipping markets have been, at the last Posidonia was just coming out of 2020. The markets really hadn't taken off yet. Dry bulk had been running a little bit, but everyone was still quite, optimistic for these 2 years that just transpired. And so I think people have just been kind of happy to have what they have, but we'll see how things develop from here. So it was great to see a lot of the companies in the sector, a lot of subscribers and other market participants, and we look forward to doing it again in 2 years. So have a good weekend, and we'll update you guys next week.